What's up, everybody? This is Bigtone coming at you from Bigtone Productions. I want to introduce you to my new channel called Beats and Feast. And before we get even started, I want you to go down below, like, comment, and subscribe so we can make this channel grow to what it needs to be. But we're going to cook a 5-pound chuck roast here, and I'm going to walk you through the steps in which I do so. But let's see what happens, and let's get this channel going, okay? All right, guys, so what I want to do here is introduce you, maybe something you do or maybe you don't know, but this is an easy, real efficient way to peel garlic. So I got about 3 garlic cloves here. I've done a couple that you can see are already here, but I want to show you, they got the skins on them. So all you do is grab a container with a lid, put the garlic inside, and you shake it for about 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be 30 seconds. You shake it for a little bit, and then I check it. And as you can see, the garlic comes out without the paper or without any of the skins on them. So this one didn't quite come off, but I'm just going to go ahead and peel that one off for us so we can see it here. Alright, so there we go. Let's discard this little container here. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is, I do this with a prime rib all the time, is I take a knife and I do it in usually the thickest parts of the meat. I scribe a little hole here, or push a little hole in the meat. And this is where I'm going to put my garlic in here, so I can get some seasoning internally here. I'll do a couple here real quick, so you can see. And I'm simply just going to push it down in. I usually do, depending on the size of the meat, I usually do between 4 and 6. I'm going to do one more on this piece. And let's put one right here. Yeah, you're going to take out a little bit of meat, but don't worry about it. You're not going to starve. Alright, so there we go. I got 4 garlics in here. They're going to season the meat internally. You can never have too much garlic. So the other little pieces of garlic, I'm just going to throw in here just for flavor. Alright, so now I'm going to introduce you to my supporting cast here. So the seasoning I'm going to use on this particular roast is, I'm trying a new one here. So normally I just use salt, pepper, seasoning salt, maybe a little smoked paprika. But we're going to start with the smoked paprika. This is one of the supporting casts here. Seasoning salt, lies, not Lowry's, it's lies. Alright, this is my new one. This is adobo sauce. I got this the other day. And it's kind of basically like a hyped up seasoning salt with cumin in it. If you don't know what cumin is, basically, to me, it's like the essence of chili. When you smell cumin by itself, it smells like chili. And then we got, of course, our black pepper. And then I use the seasoning, or you just use a regular sea salt. Okay? So, first we're going to start, I always start with the salt because I like to get that down in the meat. And I'm going to heavily do this because this is a big piece of meat, so you gotta get the salt in there. All right, I'm gonna pat that in just a little bit and hit it one more time. And forgive me, my hands are clean. All right, so I'm gonna flip this over so I can do the back side. Okay. Now I'm gonna wipe my hands off so I don't get any little cross contamination here. Like I said, be generous with the salt. You need that salt to get through this piece of thick meat here. This is 5 pounds, so this is a big roast. Alright, so I'm done with the salt for now. Excuse me for putting that right in front of the camera. Alright, and then I'm going to start with my black pepper. I am very liberal with black pepper. I love black pepper. I don't know if everybody who eats my food really likes it, but I do. Alright, so we're going to flip that back over. And if you did see my garlic fell out that I just threw in there, that's okay. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my seasoning salt. I'm not going to use a lot of this seasoning salt because the adobo has salt in it. And then I'm also going to be using chicken broth, which is, obviously has a lot of sodium in it. So I'm just going to sprinkle this one time over. Flip it over. one time over. And then we're going to go do with my adobo. Alright, this one here, because I'm trying this for the first time, I'm going to put a nice little glaze on it here. Here's another piece of my runaway garlic. And then with this cumin smell, I can smell the cumin right now. If we had smell-o-vision, this would be good. Alright, so let me wipe my hands a little bit here. And then we're going to add the smoked paprika. I got this downtown. Okay guys, here's time for another free plug. This is the Copper Chef pot. I bought this, I kept hearing about it, and so I went out and bought it. It actually does really work well. It totally gets the bottom hot. It gets hot super quick. The whole bottom gets hot, so there's no real dead spots in it so far. So again, to Copper Chef, if you're hearing this, plug, plug, plug. I need an endorsement. I need something. So, but anyway, let's get to searing. All right, guys. So as you can see, we're still searing it off. I'm gonna flip it over. See how that's nice and brown and caramelized there? All right. So we're gonna do the other side here, and I do want to make a mention that's very, very important that you take the meat and you try to sear the sides as much as you can, because you got to eat those too. All right, but I'm going to leave it over on this other side. We're going to sear this off, and then the next thing you're going to see is me taking it over to the pressure cooker, and we'll get that started, okay? You can see, I'm sure you can, that nice chuck roast is really nice and caramelized. It's got the nice brown crust on the outside. But now what we're going to do is we're going to cut up the onion here. And if you guys didn't know, this is the root of the onion. All right, I've cut everything else off. I peeled it back, but I left the root on. The reason why is because if you take the root off, that's when it starts releasing its juices, and that's when you start crying. So we're gonna leave it on there for a second, and then we're gonna cut up the onion. When I cut up this onion, I'm gonna cut it in big pieces because it's all gonna cook down in this pressure cooker. I'll talk about that in just a second. But I'm gonna cut the root off here on this one, and I'm gonna cut this in large pieces. It's gonna be what they call rustic on the Food Network. Alright, so in large pieces here, I'm going to take the lid off of here so I got a place to put it, okay? And we're going to cut the other one up here. Alright guys, so I do want to talk a little bit about this pressure cooker. I picked this up, I don't know, one of those home shopping networks or something. Anyway, it's called the Power Pressure Cooker XL. I'm not getting paid for this. I like this. I actually love this pressure cooker. I've only owned one, and this is it. But I really love this pressure cooker. If you're listening, Power Pressure Cooker XL, I need the 10-quart one. This is the 8-quart. I need the 10. So I give you my address, but everybody else would hear it. But hit a brother up. Anyway, we're gonna I'm gonna take this roast. I've already put the onions in. All right, and I'm just gonna plop it in here. All right, we're gonna see if we can't get you a better angle of this. Okay, so 1 second. All right, guys, as you can see, the pot roast is nice and snug in there. It's a big roast, and like I said, this is only I think this is an 8-quart one. I could be wrong. It could be 6, but I do need the 10-quart one. So Power Pressure XL, if you're listening again, send that one to a brother. But anyway, we got it in here. Now, I'm going to add a little something special here because it gives a little heat to it. These are just red pepper flakes. And I'm just adding a little bit. They cook down, so you won't even really be able to taste the heat, but it is a little bit of flavor. I'm also going to add a little bit more adobo mix, or seasoning, I should say. Alright, the other thing I'm going to add here very quickly is some beef broth. Excuse my arm, sorry about that. This is actually 32 ounces. It's probably about half full. So about 16 ounces, 2 cups. I'm going to add that in there. It doesn't have to be covered, but there's got to be a fair amount in there because remember, in the pressure cooker, you're essentially just steaming the meat. Alright. So we're going to come back and I'll show you how to put the lid on and how to start the timer, and we'll come back here in just a minute. Guys, so, alright guys, so here we go. I got the meat in the pressure cooker. Later on, once we get done with the initial cooking stages, I'm going to be adding some potatoes and carrots, so you'll see that here in a little bit. But we're going to put this on. Now, this being such a large roast in the pressure cooker, it's going to take about an hour and a half to 2 hours. May not take 2 hours. I'm banking on an hour and a half. I'll stop at about an hour and 20 minutes, and we'll see where it's at. But the only thing you do on a pressure cooker, basically this particular one, Power Pressure Cooker XL, plug. All right, so all you do is put the lid on. You turn it and lock it. Now there's a line back here that you line up the pressure valve for. It's got an arrow and a line. You simply just line them up, and then all you do is you push the meat and chicken button. Gives you 15 minutes, and then you're going to push the cook time selector. That's going to increase it to high, and it's going to go for 1 hour. So you're going to see these lines going around. It's basically building pressure. After about 5, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how hot the pot is ahead of time, which right now is not hot, so it's probably going to take 10 minutes. And it's simply just building up pressure at this point. So once it builds up the pressure, you'll see that clock go to 1 hour, and it'll count down from 1 hour. After that 1 hour, I'll just start it over again. So, and then at that point, I'll give it about another 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then I'll check and see what the doneness is like, and then we'll go from there. But other than that, I'll see you guys in a little bit, and we'll look and see how done it is. All right, guys, so we're back. The meat is cooked for about an hour and a half so far. So we're gonna add our vegetables. I let the steam out, so that's been out. I didn't do that on film. It takes a little bit of time to do it. So we're gonna take the top off. And I got here some carrots and celery. Celery is really just for seasoning. The carrots, we like carrots, so I'm gonna put the carrots in here. All right, set that aside. Then I cut up some potatoes here. This is just normal, regular russet potatoes. We're gonna add these in. All right, and one thing I do notice with a lot of people that they don't season their actual vegetables. So I mean, if you don't season your vegetables, they start to taste bland. So we're gonna season it here. I don't know if you can see this. We're gonna get the camera up here so you can see. But I'm gonna add a little bit more salt here. All right, and then again, I'm somewhat heavy-handed with the pepper, but we need to season the vegetables as well. All right, guys, so there you have it. So on this particular pressure cooker, over the few months that I've had it, you have to pull this out again, just a little bit, so it makes a seal. And we're gonna put the lid back on, tighten it down, lock the pressure in, and we're gonna do the timer now. So the vegetables take really no time at all. So we're gonna do the vegetables. Again, we're gonna push the chicken and meat button, and I'm gonna bring it up to high, but then I'm gonna reduce the time to 15 minutes, which is the minimum, but I'm only gonna leave it in here for about 6 to 7 minutes until the vegetables get nice and soft. Not to the point where they're real mushy, but until they're nice and soft and you can bite with no problems. But we're gonna come back in a few minutes and I'll show you the finished product. All right, guys, as you can see, the chuck roast is done. The potatoes and carrots are totally finished. Fall apart tender, as you can see. Had a hard time getting it out because it just fell apart on me, but it's definitely tender. If you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what the next one is I should do. I'm gonna put another one up probably in maybe in the next couple days. But this one will be up very shortly, and I'll do another one, and then let me know what you guys think, and we'll put some more up. All right, you guys, I'm out. This is Beats and Feast signing off.